Hello, good evening. Can you hear me?
Good evening.
Yeah, happy to be here again. Yesterday was so insightful, and all thanks to the speaker yesterday. I enjoyed the section. I enjoyed the session. It was really insightful. Like like the last person just said, I didn't know actually that was what stood out for me that dyslexia is actually hereditary. I didn't know about that, but then I knew about that yesterday. So thank you so much. I look forward to um, today's module.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Adona. Thank you very much. All right. So I would like to once again welcome all of you back again to today's session. And just as we've all tested our microphones and show that our systems are all working, and there would be some technical issues, but they're not as massive as I can record. And so I want to take the opportunity to introduce to you our speaker for today's model. That is model 4. She is already set and she is with us. All right. And so I will want to introduce her to you. Okay. So Seth is also in the background doing doing his magic. Yes, checking and making sure that everything technical is going on fantastically well. Okay. So to introduce to you the speaker for today for Model 4, she is in the person of Barbara Brew. Barbara Brew is a certified counselor and seasoned educational professional dedicated to the well-being of children and adolescents. Since 2010, she has championed inclusive learning environments, blending over a decade of classroom experience with deep counseling expertise. Barbara is a passionate advocate for neurodiverse learners, particularly those with dyslexia. Her work is rooted in the belief that every student deserves to be supported both academically and emotionally. By collaborating with families and educators to break down stigma, she continues to foster empathy and understanding for learning differences across schools and communities. This is someone that personally I've learned a lot from over the years. Participants, help me welcome Madam Barbara Brew, and to help us with Model 4, Stigma, Culture, and Narrative Change. You can do better by showing her some round of applause using the icons. Yes, let's use the icons. Madam Barbara Brew, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, David. How are you doing too?
I'm doing great, ma'am. Right. It's
Great.
been a
All right.
while. Yes, we miss you.
Yes. Hope everything is fine.
Everything is fine, ma'am. Everything is fine. Right, you have your audience, please. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you very much. So I think we can start. Can I get my slide, please?
Yes, please. Right, it's going to be projected for you. All right.
Okay.
Sure, sure. A minute, please.
Okay. Okay, so before the slides pops up, I heard your submission on yesterday's um session, and it's been very positive. I like how we've come to understand that dyslexia is genetic, so it isn't something that comes from the sky, and we believe that we can cane it out of a child. With that understanding, it helps us to address the challenges in a very well-informed manner. Great. So the next one, please. Okay, so okay, great. So we are talking about culture, stigma, and changing of our stories. And so we know that looking at what dyslexia is and what culturally we've come to understand about dyslexia, we need to have a change of story, the mindset shift. What is it that we know about dyslexia that we didn't know? How are we going to reframe our stories? We need to restore dignity and rewrite what intelligence look like. When it comes to intelligence, we all have a particular checklist looking at, okay, if you can read faster, if you can be able to understand what your teacher is saying, if you're able to raise up your hand in class, if you're able to speak, if you're able to debate, then that is what intelligence looks like. We have to rewrite that story and equipping ourselves to advocate ethnically across the African communities. When we look at the African community, every culture and what has been accepted. And so we need to make sure that we advocate in a manner that we always talk about emotional intelligence. But I believe that when we have cultural intelligence, it will make our stories acceptable. It will make people believe that, okay, we are not being attacked, but we are being educated as to this is what the whole thing should all be about. Now, when we go to our next slide, we'll be able to know that understanding stigma in the African context. We need to recognize harmful languages. Like I said, we need to tell stories ethically. We also need to reframe the narratives powerfully. If we are reframing the narratives and we say it without conviction, I'm sure that people will not get our message. We are still at the first stage that we entered into the community to reframe our story. So we need to say it very powerfully. Then also we need to advocate without shame, pity or blame. There are times that we are advocating, but we are not too sure. I always say that as educators, there are times that we feel that something should be changed, but at the same time, we are trying to give reason as to if it doesn't change, as it's okay. We should try to move away from the pity stage to the stage that we know that no, there's something that this child has, and that particular child will be able to get the results. Now, we'll be able to explain cultural roots of dyslexia across the African community. We should be able to notice that labeling is not good. Identify languages that reinforce shame and blame. We will have to look at all these things. Then apply the ethical storytelling and advocacy. We need to make sure that we are reframing whatever we say confidently. I believe that yesterday gave us the technical knowledge of what dyslexia is. Now we are going to have the cultural intelligence. How do we approach society? And speak about dyslexia in such a way that it expands dignity and possibility. We should be able to know that, okay, the child is good at this, and that is something that we can be able to bring out of them. Now, I want us all to engage in this activity. There's one thing that we've all been labeled before. For instance, I remember when I was in primary school, I was told I'm a talkative. You like talking. And so it has stayed with me for that long time that even if they're writing names of talkatives and I haven't even spoken in class that day, my name in one way or the other will feature in the names of talkative. So in the chat, if we can remember one label that we were all given when we were growing up, we have, I've put an example here. So the quiet child, the slow learner, you are too stubborn, you are too bright. So in the chat, if we can put up one label that when we were growing up, we heard about ourselves. If we can put that in the chat, we be able to. Okay. Anyone? What were the names that we received in class from our teachers, from our peers? Hi, Daniel. You want to talk? Daniel, your hand is up. Bridget, your hand is also up. Okay, Daniel,
Madam Barbara,
unmute and
would you want to pick them?
Yeah, so if they can write in the chat box, it will be very helpful for us at this moment. There'll be time for us to talk. So if you can please write in the chat box the names that you were given when you were growing up.
Right. So participants, let's kindly engage ourselves in the chat room. Right.
Okay, thank you. And so with this in mind, we'll be able to know that labels are very sticky. It sticks with us for a long time. Like I said, you're talkative, you talk too much. So there are times that you even want to express yourself in class and you raise up your hand and the teacher feels that, oh, you have nothing to say. As usual, she's just coming to talk and there's no sense in whatever you are going to say. I think we'll move to the next slide. We'll move to the next slide. So why does this matter? Why do we need to know that the stories we inherit will either make or unmake us? Now we inherit of how stories about intelligence, the kind of knowledge we should possess as we grow up. Now, when we talk about intelligence, now culturally, we have been able to have a checklist for how intelligence should look for us. And so that is the story that has been going on since time immemorial. Now, intelligence means that the child should be able to read fast, you should have verbal fluency, you should be able to have some kind of academic ranking. So in a class of 20, if you are among the first 5, then it means that you are very intelligent. And this is what we look at to measure success. And now when it comes to discipline, this is a child that is in class. And what are we talking about when it means to be disciplined? To be disciplined for us educators means that you don't challenge, you go according to the instructions. And so once you are disciplined in that, we say that you're a very obedient child. And with that, you're able to be successful in everything. And it makes the child put in a particular box. We've come to understand what dyslexia is. And now there is a child that we know is capable of doing something. We are used to a narrative, a particular story. Now, this is the story. If you want to be intelligent in class, then it means that you are the person that needs to read fast. You need to be fluent in everything that is being said in class. If you do the ranking, you should come out first. And so this is the story we know. This is a story that as part of your advocacy journey, you'll be hearing from educators, you'll be hearing from parents, you'll be hearing from church leaders, community leaders. And so if you don't hear this story, or if this story is not said about a particular child in a school, then it means that they are not intelligent, they are not disciplined, they are not successful. The next thing we'll say is that they are failures in the class. And so if we are not able to talk about these issues very well, we have students and we have learners in our school who we are not looking at what are they bringing that is different from what we're expecting them to have in class. Now, there is another one too that I think that we should use our emoji signs. As I read, you can use your emoji sign to respond to it. And so with our understanding of what dyslexia is, can we say that hard work solves all learning difficulties? If you agree to this, you can give me the thumbs up to say that hard work solves all learning difficulties. If you agree to this, okay, so I have Jonah saying that hard work solves all learning difficulties. That is the story. That's the story that we've heard. So you agree to it. Daniel also agrees to it that hard work solves all learning difficulties. Okay. All right. Okay. Mobola also says that agrees to it that hard work solves all learning difficulties. Is it true? Daniel, David, can one person unmute to answer this particular question? Is it allowed?
Sure.
Okay, okay, I think Mustafa disagrees. All right, so I've gotten one person who disagrees. Mustafa disagrees that hard work solves all learning difficulties. All right, I think I've gotten one person who disagrees with that. Mustafa, please, will you be able to unmute yourself to explain why you disagree with so it's a continuous learning from what we learned yesterday and what we are hearing today. Why are you disagreeing to the fact that hard work solves all learning difficulties? Mustafa, can you unmute? Okay, let me move to the next one. Struggling readers lack discipline. Do you agree or disagree? Struggling readers lack discipline. Do you agree or disagree? Okay, Tanya, does it mean you want to talk or you agree? Okay, I have one person who disagrees here. Okay, Daniel agrees. Omobola disagrees. Jonah disagrees. So you see, these are some of the stories that we've come to inherit. And sometimes it becomes very difficult to, is it a story? Is it a reality? How am I changing the story? How am I changing the narratives? And as you go out to advocate, these are some of the things, this is very practical. These are some of the things that you'll be hearing from educators, from parents. This child is not reading, and I believe that this child lacks discipline. If we say that we are reading for 10 minutes and he decides that the 10 minutes is going to fidget, then he's also going to struggle. So you'll be hearing this a lot. Now there's a third one. Prayer alone removes learning challenges. This is when we come to the faith story, the story you hear about our faith. That prayer alone removes learning challenges. So this particular child, I'm sure they've not invested much prayer. Daniel disagrees. They've not invested much prayer into this child. That's how come. And this is what is happening in our culture, in our society, in the groups, the community that we find ourselves. And so, yeah, so one person, Nameti, agrees to it that prayer alone removes learning challenges. I had a few people who disagree with it. Then the last one, language shapes identity. Language shapes identity. So you see, when we look at all this hard work, self-learning difficulties, it comes from our culture, it comes from our faith, it comes from fear, it comes from we need to survive. These are the things that we need to do well. If we don't go for prayers, then it means that this child that the teachers are saying can't read is never going to read. But the moment we invest and the more we pray, it means that the child is not able to learn, if the child is not able to read, we say that, okay, probably our prayers haven't reached heaven. But that is not the case. From our knowledge that we gathered from yesterday, dyslexia is a neurological challenge. And so we cannot say that prayer alone is something that will be able to solve the problem. Now, when we come to culture, we can say that dyslexia is not cultural, but it's personal. And the story about this dyslexia doesn't come from because this child cannot read. That is how come the child has been tagged to be dyslexia when it comes to our culture. But it comes because this is the stories we've passed on. Now, mind you, we are still understanding what dyslexia is for us advocates. Then you go into a community to talk to them about what you know about dyslexia. This is something that you need to understand what has been taken in that society. What does success look for them in that society? When they are looking at their faith narratives, what are their beliefs? And now we'll be able to say that faith becomes explanatory when science is inaccessible. It means that if you don't have understanding to what dyslexia is, your faith becomes very strong. There's a place for faith. There's a place for understanding what a particular child is going through with the scientific explanation, with what has been measured to. But if we don't understand that aspect, the neurological challenges, all that we will be stuck with is that it's a spiritual challenge. These are the spiritual beliefs. And we cannot go attacking our culture that your spiritual beliefs are wrong if they have not been told the other way around. Now, when it comes to our society, parents need to see how they are going to survive. And so we know that the faith is bringing them comfort, is bringing them hope. And faith cannot replace structured literacy. If we pray and we don't have a structured support for our learners, it's still going to be the same. So someone says that, wow, I have studied about this. I've come to let you understand that this is the situation. There's a place for prayer. There's a place for structured literacy. There's a place for educational intervention. There's a place that spiritual support and educational support are not enemies, but just that they serve different roles. The moment we know the role each is playing, we'll be able to know that, okay, after prayers, this is the intervention that has to be given to. Now we look at the schooling models. Those of us in education, our schooling models, we will not say that our schooling models are totally off, but we came to meet a particular narrative, the one-style learning, the one that you can learn when you are able to answer questions, you are able to read. That is how we are able to measure your intelligence. The practical aspect is what is coming up now. Now, I remember last week we had our STEAM fair, and we decided that let's now focus, even though we say STEAM, but what are we doing to make sure that students who want to do live painting, students who wants to sing, student who wants to crochet, students who have to braid hair, who wants to do tie and dye, we allowed all these students and we gave them the same rubrics so that it doesn't look like they are even victims because they cannot participate in the science part of it, the engineering aspect, the mathematics aspect, they are less of what they are doing. So the same rubrics, if you want to do tie and dye, the same way in which someone who is in the engineering field can be able to do it, is the same thing that we'll give to those who are doing the tie and dye, who are doing the crocheting. Now that is the schooling model we now have to go to tell our educators. I think that there's time that we need to not only talk about what dyslexia is, but we need to equip our educators. Because small time we told them educators are able to understand that, okay, this is the challenges. But what should I do? How are they equipped? If you go into your advocacy journey, how are you going to say that, well, you've explained to me this child has challenges reading, and we have the spectrum. So this child takes time to understand. This child's comprehension is not as high as this particular learner. What are we substituting? What are we telling the teachers? You've told me all this, but can you try to build the confidence of the child so that if the child can orally give responses, can that be accepted in the classroom? If the child is more of a hands-on person, will you allow the person to be able to explain? So if you are doing a project and we have those that will write whatever explanation they have to give, will you allow this particular child to also explain verbally to the participants, those who come, the judges, those who come and check their work, so that at least the teachers will know that, okay, we know this and we have been equipped. And the community expectation, you know that community expects us to behave in a particular way. And academic performance reflects how our family will be treasured. And so with all this, you should be able to know that, well, this particular child we have in this family, we've decided to come to this community to be able to let you know what dyslexia is about. We've heard from the community. This is what you are saying. If our child cannot go to the university to read law, and our child says that they want to go to the technical university because they are very good with putting things together, that is also a prestige. That is where the world is going. Once we are able to work on the mindset, it helps us in our journey. It helps us in our advocacy journey. It helps us to know that, wow, this is not a season to decide who is better than the other, but this is a time that we encourage everyone on board. That, well, this person is going to school to do mathematics. This person is also inventing this other thing. Why don't we look at them in a successful way, rather than looking at it in a base of it is shameful for our family because if this person is not able to do this and this person even wants to learn how to braid the hair, or this person now one feels that he wants to model or he wants to do it, or this person is taking their time to be successful in whatever they do, then to our family or to our community, it doesn't work. Now, like I said, our academic performance work. This is something that we look at the sources of dyslexia across the African community, and this is what we are saying. Intelligence being measured by reading, by writing, the exams we do. If you're very brilliant, it means that you are fast. Verbally, you can express yourself and you are very obedient. Now, when it comes to the spiritual explanation, as you go out there as an advocate, these are some of the things, these are some of the stories that you'll be hearing. And so we want you to know the stories you hear and how we are going to reframe the stories. So we know that struggling, and depending on the community you even go, some will be more than others. And so they will tell you that this child, and probably there's a relative somewhere that we know that with all her children, she has decided that this particular child, witchcraft will be practiced of that particular child. That's how come the child is not doing well. That's how come this child can cook very well. But why is that she can cook? So they see cooking to be a kind of, well, he wants to play. So you always feel that trying his hands on other things is what they want to do. Then they feel that this child is cursed and there's a weak prayer life. So these are the things that we should be expecting to hear. And also, when it comes to survival, everyone will say that. Now, where the world is going, education means the economic escape. And so if a child doesn't go to the school to a particular level, then it means that poverty is still going to remain in this family. And so we should be able to equip them and say that, well, the world is more advanced now. And if you don't do this, does not mean that you can't survive. The one-way styling, like I am styled teaching, like I said, we should be able to, especially depending on the region that you go to have your advocacy program, you should be able to support them. You should be able to bring in more practical ideas, hands-on activities. We should be able to avoid mocking beliefs. And so these are some of the things that we need to work on, so that as we hear this story, we know how are we going to support. We don't just go telling them stories, but do not have any support to give to them. Now we'll be going into our breakout rooms to discuss some of the stories. And so this is a real life story that we have about a girl called Amma. So Amma is 9 years old. The teacher says that Amma is lazy. The auntie says that Amma is stubborn. Her church says that her spirit is distracted. Her parents will say that she's not serious. But no one have asked how she could fix radios. As young as 8, 9 years, she can fix the radios. She can be able to, if you have challenges with your gadgets, Amma is able to solve that for you. And so no one have asked how she could fix radios, but she struggles to decode words on a page. We are not looking at the practical way of she helping us at home. But we are so fixated with our one-star learning that once she's not able to read, she's lazy. But we cannot say that once we have challenges, if a teacher comes to class and is trying to work with a gadget, Amma is the one who is able to help us solve the problem. So this is the story about Amma. And so as we go into our next page, we break out for 5 minutes. And David, if you can be able to help us with the breakout rooms. Now, what explanations are commonly given in your community when a child struggles in school? We heard about Amma, she's lazy, she's spiritually distraught, she's not serious. So in your community, because I believe that you becoming an advocate, you've been able to see what is happening, what's the common thing that is happening in my community. Does it look like it's more spiritual? Is it moral? Is it behavior? Is it intellectual? What explanations are given to children that in quotes are struggling in school? So please, as we go into our breakout rooms, we should come back and be ready to share a pattern that happens in the community that we find ourselves. So, David, if we can have our breakout rooms so that this discussion will go on as to what are the explanations that are given in the community that we find ourselves when a child struggles in school.
Okay, Madam Barbara. This one with all due respect, since they are not many, can we
Okay,
maintain can we maintain one group so that we can all share
that's
ideas?
okay, that's fine. So
That's
I
fine.
think
Okay.
if we can have people who anyone wants to share what happens in their community. Do you have anyone who wants to explain that in my community? Fortunately, great. Omotola, please, you can unmute and speak.
Hello, good evening. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, please, I can hear you. Good evening.
Okay, good evening, Ma. Thank you so much. Well, in my community, I'm from Nigeria.
Okay.
So Nigeria, we don't believe in a hands-on activity. Maybe a little child is, displaying some expertise in fixing radio, changing a
Okay.
bulb, be able to put on the generator. That is not what we want. We want our children to be doctors, lawyers, engineer, a physician or pharmacy. So that is the prestige the parents want. And so by the time the child is not able to, go to the university and study such courses, it becomes a big problem. So we are looking at the prestige, we are looking at the pride, the accolades, and everything that would come. So at the end of the day, our children are meant to live the parents' dream, not what the child actually wants. That is not the issue, which is very bad. But now things are changing, maybe because of
Yeah.
hardship. Before in Nigeria, your child say, I want to go and play ball. They will flog him very well. But now you want to go and play ball, they will allow him in Jesus'
How
name.
you?
Amen. But so go and play the ball. So these are the problem we are having in that community expectation you talked about. These are the challenges we are
Okay.
having.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you too. All right. Oluwatosin, if you can please unmute.
Well, in my community in Nigeria, when a child is having a learning difficulty, especially in dyslexia, they don't look at that aspect of the child. I myself, I was a victim of that for a long time until they changed I played for my one twice. My younger sister could read, started reading before I could read. Thank God to the angel the Lord sent as my class teacher. Just switched all my evaluations to oral. And so you say, express yourself in words, don't write anything. So from there, everything moved. And then I've noticed the narrative is, oh, you are not intelligent, you are lazy, you are easily distracted, you are not serious, just want to play, 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 play. And usually that's not the case. I've met children in the course of my work, and when parents see me teach them, they be like, Miss Tosin, I just play with this child. Like, I'm not playing with this child, and just give me 6 months. And in 6 months, the child is like best in English language, best in phonics. Then we're supposed to, I say we play fruity, we learn. So they think children are playful. They think and sometimes when the discipline is too much flogging and all that, instead that the child locks up or the child become rude and aggressive. So parents now think they're just rude, they're just proud, just aggressive. So that's been the narrative around.
Okay. Okay. All right, sure. Thank you. Thank you. Any more? Okay, so please back to my slides. Thank you very much for sharing what you believe that. So some they think is behavioral or moral. I think the explanations. Okay, Daniel, your hand is up. Daniel, please, you can unmute and talk.
Okay, thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. So I come from a society, I'm from Zimbabwe. We
Okay.
attach a huge price tag to education. For the longest, UNESCO categorized Zimbabwe as the most wicked country in Africa. And I think that has put lots of pressure towards, performance as far as school is concerned. So when it comes to community response, there's all kinds of things, and mostly it's spiritual. So when a child is not
Very true.
performing so well in school, it's easily pointed towards, things like witchcraft, and there's a boom, there's a whole economy around the so-called prophets and traditional healers that are giving assistance to children who are struggling in schools. They sell all kinds of props, to help you. I mean, for example, during exams, there is a special type of pen that you can buy for you to perform well and all of that. And also on the parent side, the pressure to study. Growing up personally myself, we didn't have enough time to play or much time to play.
Okay.
Every spare time that we had, you had to put in the hours and study so that we achieve results. So I think from my perspective, it's not only my country, even like most of the countries that in the
Yes,
southern
very
part of
true.
Africa, we attach a huge plastic to education. So yeah, that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And so that is why we are all here today. How are we going to change that story? Daniel, we are coming from a place that is more of spiritual witchcrafts. From our friends from Nigeria, they are looking at prestige. So how are we going to change that story? And that's the reason why we are here. We need to change the story. If we don't change the story, it will be going in circles. Every now and then, we'll be educating ourselves about what dyslexia is, but we are not changing the narratives around it. And we need to shape identity. You see, like I said, there are some of the things that we've been told when we were probably 8 years, 9 years, 10 years, 15 now, teens, that still stays with us. And so this is a time that we are gaining the knowledge. We are going back into society. We are going to change the narratives. Our words will create the future. We need to shape identity. We need to know how to teach our children who they are allowed to become. Because every label carries a future. If you give the child the right label, it will take them into the future. If you give them a wrong label, it will still they'll carry it into the future. And so what kind of label are we making sure that we've gotten the opportunity to understand dyslexia, understand how we can carry out our advocacy project? How are we going to make sure that this is what culturally is being accepted? This is the story that has been going on all around. The story of prestige, the spiritual stories, witchcraft, measuring intelligence. This is all the story that we've been hearing so far. And the labeling, it stays with us. It becomes our identity. And so when we hear stories like, you are lazy, you are not serious, you don't try, something is wrong with him, she's slow, that child worries me. And these are things that we've been hearing. These are things that when we go into our community to talk about dyslexia, they'll just try and tell you that. That's why in the beginning I said that our message has to be Catholic. If you go and listen and we do not give the narrative, we do not change the story, we do not say that, okay, this is what we've been used to, we've been hearing, it's witchcraft, it's this, it's laziness. But what have you identified in this particular child? Because formally, if you are having a science fair and a child says that what I want to come and do is that I want to come and crochet, hairband, bats, say that in fact, you are not serious. Why are we talking about science fair and this is what you have decided to come and do. And so these are stories that we are used to. And someone will say that I'll research about African music. And so during my science fair, I want to come and talk about African music, how it all started. I want to come and talk about photography. I have taken pictures. This is what I want to do. And the first thing, unfortunately, it starts from we, the educators, who give messages to parents. Parents take it to the rest of the family members. It comes back to the society, and the message is spreading across. And so if we do not change the narratives as advocates, we do not say that let's rephrase it again, then it means that all this that we keep talking about, the child will now begin to say that, okay, I think it's my fault. This person is slow, and she's less of others. This is all that you know how to do. We are thinking of how to come out with a mass solution. And all that you decided to do is that you are taking your time. You said we should give you a Canva, and you are coming to draw. And yes, this is something that if we are not intentional about bringing out the light, all that we do is that we have measures as to how intelligence should look like in our society, in our schools, in our community, even in churches. And so this is another story about Kojo. So we have such cases with us. So Kojo repeated primary 4 twice. Each year, his father says that you are wasting my money. By age 12, Kojo stopped speaking in class. At age 16, he is diagnosed with dyslexia. By then, he has already learned that silence is safer than trying. And so if you have such a person that you realize that was very, very active in class, now the person has decided that when I go home, my daddy feels I'm wasting his money. When I'm in school, teacher says I'm not trying, I'm not doing my best. Now, this is what we are talking about. What is hurting Kojo the more? Is it the time that he was diagnosed with dyslexia or the narratives around it before he was diagnosed? You are not serious, you are wasting my money. What do you think? If I can have one or two people to unmute themselves to talk about what do we think that is Kojo's challenge? Now, Kojo is very quiet. He's still quiet because he was diagnosed, he was assessed that he has dyslexia. Or he was quiet because he feels that, well, the stories around the stories around me is too much, and so let me keep quiet. Jonah, Daniel, what do you think about this? Oluwatosin, Omobola, Mustafa, what do we think about Kojo? Okay, Nameti, please you can unmute yourself.
All right, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, please, I can hear you. Yes.
Yeah, I'm in transit, so background noise.
That's
So
fine.
I think Kojo has internalized the levels that he was given. Number
Okay.
one. So I think the silence is a symptom of withdrawal, which comes from trying to be safe. Probably the world out there is so harsh, and the world does not understand his condition, which is like understanding his uniqueness.
Okay.
So he withdraws to feel safe because probably he has been condemned, judged, and misunderstood, and he just wants to, he recalls into his own sanity, so to speak, space inside. That's what I
Okay.
think.
Okay, so for you, it's the narrative around him that has made him more quiet. Okay, thank you very much. Omobola, please, you can unmute.
Yes. Hello. Can you hear me,
Hi.
please?
Yes, please,
Okay.
I can hear you.
Yes. I think for Kojo's case, he didn't just become silent because he was diagnosed of dyslexia.
Okay.
Actually, for all the narratives around him then,
he would must have felt that there's nothing he will say or do that he will be appreciated, or
Okay.
he will be saying that yes, he's doing the right thing.
Okay.
So from then, from all those narratives, you're not serious, you are lazy, you are this, you are that, all this, he has seen himself stigmatized already. And with that, he will definitely withdraw and will not be able to participate. I will not want to participate anymore because as he has concluded that it's better I stay silent. If I stay silent, nobody will pick on me, nobody will say I'm lazy, nobody will say this or that. So I think it had to do with the
The
narratives around
narrative.
all what was said about him that caused his
Okay.
silence. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Thank you very much. And I want us to be mindful of this. We have more kojos in our community, in our schools. And as we go out as advocates, we should be intentional about how we are going to change the narratives. Because it takes just one person to bring a different story. It takes one person to make Kojo come alive again. And so if we are being charged to go out as advocates, then it means that the responsibility lies on us to change the narratives, to make sure that the Kojos we have in our schools, the Kojos we have at home, the Kojos we have in our community becomes they come back to life. We are able to identify whatever it is. Now I've seen Oluwato saying, Omotola, yes, your hands are up because there's another one that's because of our numbers, we are not going to have our breakout session. But I want us to rewrite these stories. So like we said, he's lazy, he's slow, he doesn't try, something is wrong with her. Can we look at these phrases practically? As we go out there, we are going to hear this. And so this session is for us to try with amongst ourselves so that as we go there, we know what we are going to talk about. So can we rewrite this? How are we going to make it very strong to make the story not sugar-coated? So you meet a teacher and the teacher says that he's lazy. How are we going to write the story? Imagine this is Kojo for you. Kojo is lazy. How are you going to rewrite the story? Omotola, please, if you can unmute and let's practice. How are you going to rewrite the story of Kojo being said that he's lazy?
Okay, Ma, I think to rewrite the story, I would first of all, like I said in my feedback, because of what I know now about dyslexia, I will be on the defensive. I would really want to defend this individual and educate the parents or the teachers around that no, this child is not lazy. This child has every gift to, to perform. Just accept him the way he is wired. He just learns his own things in a different way. So let's accept him and stop using all these, derogatory remarks. The child is this, the child is that. Because before you know it, the child will actually start becoming those things. Even if I do what is good, they will kukuma murder me. They will crucify me. Nothing I do is good, so there's no need. So you're just burying the child on and on. So I think we can change the narrative by educating people around us. And no, this child is not this. Let's try him this way.
Okay.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
So if you are to rewrite his lazy into the different narrative, will you try? How will you say it instead of saying he's lazy?
I would say he's not lazy, but he's gifted in some other things. Probably
Okay.
whatever you are telling him to do is not his strength. Let's
Okay.
try him in this other way and see how we can bring what is his strength and match it with what other thing you are saying he's lazy at, and you see that he's not actually lazy.
Okay. All
Because
right.
at the
Thank
end of
you.
the day, they might say the child is lazy because he's not writing, but what you are telling him to write, you can actually say it. Or if you take
Okay.
him to the playground, he can actually even write that thing in the playground and not in a classroom environment.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Oluwatosin, the second one, she's slow. Let's take the story of Amma. Amma, in class, yes, the teachers describe her to be slow. she's not serious. But she could be able to work on radio. If your radio is faulty, Amma is able to do that. So if a teacher tells you, as you go to a school, to create that awareness in that school, and the teacher says that I have this particular learner in my class, all that
So
she does is to be
I'll,
fixing radio. How are you going to rewrite the story for us?
I would say she's not slow. I would say Amma is not slow. I would just say Hammer's strength and speed have not been tested with the right challenge
Okay.
because they are using a generalized scale too, which is biased. Generalized test as well. This is individual specific, of course. You see that it's not slow. So I would say Amma is not Amma has not been given the right kind of challenge based on strength and interest to measure her speed and accuracy.
Okay. Great. Great. Thank you. Omobola, he doesn't try. How will you rewrite this? He doesn't try.
Yes. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can.
Okay. He doesn't try. Well, I would rewrite the statement as in, why not we look at where he's good at?
Okay.
That's the way I'll say that. Why don't we look at why if you're saying he doesn't try, is yes,
Mm-hmm.
fine. He's not writing, but let's give an example like in an exam setting. Writing is the
Okay.
problem to put it down. But
Mm-hmm.
orally, if you ask him, yes, how many, what I mentioned the human sense, if he cannot write it, he can mention it.
Okay.
So I would say that, well, he doesn't try in this aspect, but in this aspect, this is where he's good at.
All right. Okay.
That's what I would.
Thank you. So name T, if I mentioned the name right, the last one, something is wrong with her. How are you going to rewrite this? Something is wrong with her.
Something is wrong with her. Wow, that's so powerful level. Okay. I think I would like to rewrite it by turning it upside down. I think this is something I used to feel myself. So
Okay.
I would say she's special. This person is unique and special, and so I think we need to treat him differently. So we need to
Okay.
understand how to definitely help and work with him. But definitely, he's a special child. He's a unique person. He's different, I think.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Right.
Thank you very much. So
Yeah.
it tells us that we are really practicing for how we'll go out into our communities. So these are possible reframes I also came out with. So he's lazy. We can also look at it in this way. He possesses written language differently and needs structured literacy support. So I know that from what Patty started yesterday, the structured support, the early intervention, the support for them to function. If you're able to
Hey,
do that for
how are you?
that learner, it will be
How far now?
helpful. Now she's slow. We can reframe it. She learns best through visual and oral approaches. I think this one was all said during our submission. She learns best through visual and oral approaches. He doesn't try. He's trying hard, but the strategy isn't working. So sometimes we need to identify what we are also doing in our space to make us know if what we are doing, the systems are working. And so, like we said, the stories we hear can either heal or harm an individual. And as advocates, as we go out there, we should make sure that we are protecting dignity. We are protecting in such a way that the people that we interact with daily do not feel that, well, I thought you were going to help me out, and this is the situation I find myself in. You are also adding on to the story. You are not reframing the stories. You are not changing the narratives. We should center agency. We should avoid pity. one of our designated supports was giving me a story as to how she feels that sometimes when educators get to know that this child has been assessed and is having this learning challenges, teachers tend to say that, oh, let's leave them alone. Oh, wow, I now understand. So instead of looking at their strength to include them in what is happening in the classroom space, we tend to make it look as if then let's leave them. It's because we are not trying to explore other avenues too. We should challenge and bring out the best. We should say that, okay, if this person can be able to do this, then let's make sure that in our lessons, we incorporate things that will let them also bring out their best. So that we avoid, okay, because he can't read, I feel sorry for this particular learner, and so I'm leaving this learner again. We should also avoid trauma exploitation. We know they are going through challenges from home, the narratives in the school, the narrative at home. And so there is a time that we also feel that, okay, we'll be using that just to be working against them. And we should leave them empowered. When we go listen to the teachers, listen to our families, the families, listen to those in the community, we should empower them. We should not feel sorry and say, okay, I'm sorry to hear about this. I'm sorry to hear that your daughter is going through this. But how are we empowering them? How are we making sure that they know what to do? They know the support. They know that, okay, at home, if I need this person to make sure that I change the design in my room, probably I want to rearrange my room. This person is that innovative, is that creative that I can leave it to this, my daughter. And so we should be able to also equip them. I believe that usually educating them and not equipping them becomes a challenge. And so we should be able to look at these red flags when we go out to have our advocacy journey. Instead of trying to listen to stories and not do anything about it, we should be able to know that what are the red flags, what are the things that I can come on board to change the narrative. So using pain to shock instead of educate. So, oh wow, this is what's like, you seem surprised. Oh, I didn't know. So we came through this advocacy program. We've gone through what is dyslexia, we've gone through as we are going out into, but this particular narrative is too, I wasn't expecting this. It's something that's, wow. Then this thing is more deeper than I thought. Please, we shouldn't be expressing the shocks. We should be able to educate them because, like we said, there are spectrums, there are different levels. Let's look at what we can do. It is not a tragedy. It is something that we should be able to know the solution. Every child deserves to learn, and learning comes in different forms. We should be able to do that because as we go out, we've been empowered to do whatever we are supposed to do. Now, when we go out and they are telling us, we go out to schools to have our awareness program, and they are telling us the stories, we should be able to know whose story is this and the agency to which it is told us. Does it reinforce some kind of, there are times that the stories even tends to mock. And so does this story, how is this story looking like now? And there's possibility in this particular child. Is this story for awareness or for emotional impact? So as you go and you listen to some of the stories, I know you add on to the stories. You go trying to create about the success of what you've been able to do with a community, a school. But as you go, you should be able to know how we are telling your story, how we are going to make sure that ethically you are doing the right thing. Ethically, it is not to mock. It is not to let anyone feel bad. It is not to end in pity. It is for you to know that we can work it out. There's success story in whatever story we've heard. And so this is something that we need. Now we are going to work on the reframing our narratives. You see, we find ourselves in a society that we are used to a particular story. We are used to a particular narrative. And so reframing makes it quite difficult. That's how I made us to do the example of if he's lazy, how can you say it differently? Now, when we are doing the narrative reframing, it means that we are changing the story, the meaning to it. We don't just change words, but the meaning is still there. The identity, the emotion around it. How are we making sure that whatever we are saying, we are changing the story around it? We are making sure that it brings meaning. So we don't go sugarcoating our stories, but at the end of the day, we are all handicapped. You are changing he's lazy. Then you go about changing just words, but you are not bringing impact to whatever it is that we've been tasked to do. Now, these are some of the things that we need to know, the differences. These are some of the things that we, as advocates, we should know the technical language around it. You should be able to not see it in a deficit form. Deficit form, when you look at this particular one, dyslexia is a learning disability. And you know that with this one, we need to create the difference. What's the deficit in this? If you make it a learning disability, it means that we are trying to put a cap on it. We are trying to say that, well, there's nothing more we can do about it. But if you're able to identify and say that it's a different way the brain processes language, it's something that we are reframing and knowing what to do. There's the second one. We need to also shift from the blame. There are times that we are blaming our learners, but the system, the schools we find ourselves, the classroom environment, what have we done about it? Even if the child has not been assessed to have dyslexia, some of the learners, the way our system is being wired to us, it's not really helping us. The system is not teaching him how his brain learns. So you say that he's failing, but he's failing in which way? How has the teacher or how is the community, how are they making sure that whatever he's good at is being incorporated in the classroom environment? And so these are some of the things that as we go out, we also need to check everything. It's not about just hearing the story about learners and trying to see how we can change that particular learner. But we also need to be bold out there, assess and see how we can also bring on more hands-on activities to the school. Because if a child wants to have that oral opportunity to speak up their stories, or please, you can move to the third too. And if a child wants to have all this exposure, and we are not giving them that exposure, and we conclude that they are failing, then I also say that the other side too, that is for us, we are also failing because we are not trying to make sure that we make our lessons more appealing to the learner. Now she struggles to read. Now there is a place that everything is, they don't even have pictures to describe. Everything is read, you need to write. You are not giving the opportunity for them to even act out. And so then we will conclude that since this is the checklist, then it means that once you are not able to do that, that ends it. And so we need to make sure that we are fixing the challenges. Now, how do we fix the child? It's all that every time we are trying to look at the child, the learner, my daughter, my son, my nephew, my granddaughter have been called to the school. She can't read. She's slow. And they believe that, well, when it comes to let's draw, she's quickly excited to draw, or let's have this competition. And she's excited to say that, okay, there's this dancing troupe that I want to join. And so how are we supporting the child? How do we adapt the environment? How do we move from the time that we are going to have science fair, we are going to have other projects in the class, and we will try and make them feel involved in it. We'll make sure that we give some of the opportunities that we are giving to learners who we believe that they are good in science, they are good in maths, they are good in reading. What are we going to do to support this particular child so that they are not left out? Now, we are almost getting to the end of our session. And so for this one, we are going to reframe this one too. So this session is more on The first one is on our faith. Let's pray for this child to overcome this condition with all the reframing practices that we've gone through. This is one thing that is talking about prayer. How do we pray? We've come to understand that there's a place for faith and there's a place for getting the understanding of what is happening neurologically. And so instead of saying, let's pray for this child to overcome this condition, how can we reframe this? Because as you go out there, I'm sure you hear teachers who conclude their story, their narratives to you and say that, do you know something? You do not understand the challenges you are facing in this school. So I believe that let's pray for this child to overcome this condition. From yesterday's submission, we got to understand that it is genetic. So if you now hear this, how are you going to reframe this? Do I have anyone to try? Okay, Nemeti, please, you can unmute and speak.
Yeah, so as an advocate, we have been taught that with support, we can help these children. So we can collectively say, let's see how we can provide help and support, or provide the necessary support. We believe that with that support, this child will definitely do better.
Okay, so I'll take you back to yesterday's. So what kind of support? I'm sure when Fatih was going through, he gave us some tools as to what are some of the things that you can suggest, because usually I also believe that sometimes we create the awareness to educators, but yet we've not suggested options. So they get to know about it, the awareness has been created, but there's some kind of deficiency somewhere. So what kind of support are you going to suggest for this particular child that we've been advised to pray for? Let's say, if this child is 7 years old, what can we do? Because from the earlier submission, we heard about early interventions. Okay, please, you can unmute again and give your submission.
Okay, so, sorry, you said if the child is how old?
7 years.
7 years old. Okay, so I think we can recommend an assessment and direct the child for an assessment, and then see how we can connect that child to relevant professionals who will be able to assess the child, and then probably know exactly what support to offer. From multisensory learning, depending on what the child is struggling with, you can decide to shift from just helping the child to read, from like writing to maybe oral, or maybe to visual, or maybe to tactile learning. Different kinds of learning can actually
Okay.
be tried, yes, to see how
Okay.
the child can improve. Yes.
Okay, all right. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. So this becomes more practical. You get the point. Because we are going out, we are advocates. We need to also have the tools. We need to give our practical solutions. So I really like the suggestions that you gave. Thank you very much. I think let's move to the next slide. Okay, so this is talking about empowerment. And so we have a girl in West Africa who failed English 3 times. The teacher said, you are not broken. The way we teach reading is not built for your brain. So this is a teacher that is having an identity shift. So it's not labeling the child. The teacher is empowering the child, because failing English 3 times, you, the child, you are broken. But if the teacher comes in to emphasize how the child has failed English 3 times, it's more of not trying to see what can we do. The teacher is more open-minded, if I would say. There's a mind shift. And this will only come about if we go about our advocacy awareness in a very strong way. We go with solutions. We go educating the teacher that, well, these are some of the things that you studied in school. I've been trained as a teacher. We got to understand the different learning styles that we have we can employ in our classroom space. And so this becomes a story if our advocacy awareness and our advocacy journey becomes strong. We'll be able to hear stories like this. We won't be hearing stories like you are useless, you are not serious. So this story, we should own it. We should know that if I do a good job, this is going to be the narrative. This is how teachers are now going to talk. This is how parents are now going to talk. This is how everyone will see it and realize that, well, we also need to look at the style, the way in which we teach. And so it's something that everyone will own up and bring up the solution rather than the blame game. So this is for us. We should be able to have this story for ourselves. Well, we've gotten to a point that I believe that we need to know what we stand for as advocates. And so if you're in a place that you can stand, please, I will advise that you can stand. If you can put in the laugh sign emoji into the chats, you can do that. You roll back your shoulders, feet grounded, and have a deep breath. You breathe out. And I want us all to unmute because we are going to say something that is for us. So if we can unmute, we'll be able to say that I am an advocate for dignity. So this is what I want us all to say. If you can stand, if you can roll back your shoulder, your feet is grounded, you have your deep breath. I've seen the love emojis flying. And so please, this is for us all. If we can say it together, I am an advocate for dignity.
I am an advocate.
I am an advocate.
I am an
For
I am an
dignity.
advocate of
I'm
dignity.
an advocate for dignity. I'm an
I'm an
advocate for
advocate for
dignity.
I'm
dignity.
an advocate for
I
dignity.
am an advocate for dignity.
I am
I
Thank
an
am an
you.
advocate
advocate
of
I am an
dignity.
advocate for dignity.
I'm an advocate for dignity.
Yes,
I
you
am
are
an
an
advocate for
advocate for dignity. Great, great, great. So that is what we stand for. The last story tells about us. If you go back to the community that we started and the teachers are giving us empowering messages, the story we are no longer going to tell. And so from the start, we heard about stories about, okay, we see you doing this particular program as a prestige. We have Daniel talking about spirituality, witchcraft. So in your notebook, I want you to write this, the story I will no longer tell. In your notebook, if you can write about one harmful belief about learning you grew up with. I know some of us had these challenges when we were growing up with. So if you can write one harmful belief about learning that you grew up with, and one narrative you replace with it. Because like I said, words are powerful, label stays with us for long. And so we've now identified that as I was growing up with, this is the harmful belief I grew up with. Then by it, we should be able to know what is the narrative that I'm going to use to replace whatever I believe in. So this assignment is for us. And so we have to keep this a personal reflection assignment. And so as volunteers, we need to share one belief you are releasing. So if you can type this, one belief you are releasing and one story you are choosing instead. You are the voices of change. What are the stories that you are choosing? What are you going to hear? And how are you going to make sure that you change the narrative? Are you going to say that I'm so used to this story, and so that is what I'm going to do? So if you can write in the chat, you can do that. one belief you are no longer going to hold on to. Because I always say that sometimes the society we find ourselves is so powerful that even though we might be educated about a particular cause, we know what is right. But in one way or the other, we still cannot let go of that belief. Like I said, we should be mindful when we go out and hear different narratives. We do not express that shock. And so we should be able to know, well, from the start of this program, to having to do model 4, I know that there are some of the beliefs that I need to let go and I need to choose a different story. So please, we need to work on this. We need to work on this seriously because there are times that we feel we've heard, we know it all, but still we are not letting go of what we know. And so we need to do that. And it has to be very intentional. It has to be very, very, very intentional. Now, as advocates, we need to commit ourselves to something. We really, really, really need to. The work we've picked up to do, the journey that we are embarking on, we need to be committed to it. If we are not committed to it, we will go hearing narratives, stories, we'll go hearing cases, and we feel that, well, I believe that there are times that you'll be convinced and say that, well, I believe this thing, it is as it is. Or whatever story is being spread, it has to be so. But if we can commit ourselves to this, then it's really going to help us. And so if we will read this together, uh, if we can unmute, fine. But if we can't unmute, and I believe you can all see the screen, let's read this together. So I will read. If you can unmute, that's fine. But wherever you find yourself, you still make sure that you read. So I commit to speaking about dyslexia without shame,
Without shame,
without pity,
without
without
pity,
blame,
without
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 blame.
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 I will tell
I will tell
stories
stories that
that
protect
protect
dignity.
dignity,
I will tell
center,
stories that protect dignity.
center agency,
Center
Center
and,
agency.
agency
and expand the possibility.
and
And
expand the
expand the
possibility.
possibility.
I will challenge harmful narratives,
I will
I will
challenge
challenge
harmful
harmful
narratives,
narratives,
even when they are familiar,
even
even
when they
when
are
they are
familiar,
familiar,
even when they are cultural,
even
even
when they
when
are
they
cultural,
are cultural,
even when spoken by authority,
even when
even
spoken by
when spoken
authority,
by authority,
because no child
because
because no
no
child
child
deserves
deserves
deserves to inherit
to inherit
to inherit
a story that limits their future.
a
a story
story
that limits their
that limits
future.
their future.
So help me God.
So help me
So
God.
help me God. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you very
Amen.
much. Thank you very much. We have committed ourselves to this. We are going to make sure that the narratives, if they are familiar, we are not going to add on to it, but we are going to change it. And we need the help of God. Okay. All right. Okay. So Daniel, David, thank you. Thank you. So David, if you can please
All
come
right.
back.
Sure. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So at this point in time, we want to take any questions. If you have any questions or at any point at which where you want any clarification, kindly put up your hand using the emoji sign and I want to meet you. And Madam Barbara Brew will take all your questions. Yeah, so let me know if you have any question. If you feel free to chat in the chat box. If you have any question for Madam Barbara Brew or where you need clarification or any other thing you want to add up. You have some few minutes. Yeah, so right. So then okay. So Oyenkeru, you can unmute yourself and you have the floor now.
Okay, good evening. Thank you
Good
so
evening.
much, ma'am. My name is Aaron Cheno Oyankulu. Okay, so my question is, I understand that as advocates, we're meant to speak up and empower others, but as advocates, can we also, okay, I know that we don't diagnose and we don't treat, but can we like work with, like help children? Like, okay, when you were talking about ways we can change the narrative, like not just speaking about it, but also doing the work, like maybe creating um hands-on tools that can help, or materials that will be helpful to the children. Can we do that, like working with them practically, hands-on materials, not just doing the talk, but like working it out and working through with the children?
Yes, we can do that. Like I explained, there are times that we go create awareness, but the educators have not really been taught what to add on to their lessons. So if you are good at incorporating those hands-on activity and you can help the teacher to design that, why not? You can do that. Just like you rightly explained, you cannot do the formal assessment. That's why you need to make the referral. But anything that is practical and can be used in the classroom, you can support with that.
Right. Thank you very much. Omotola, you can unmute yourself.
Okay, thank you so much, Ma, for this session. What I want to clarify is that because I discovered that a lot of times the teacher may be trying, although like is rightly said, some teachers may not be exposed to how to help children with dyslexia, but some teachers may know how to go about it, but because there is no continuity for the child, especially when the child goes back home after school, so the teacher's effort is like liquidated, sort of,
Limited.
because yes, because if the child comes to school and teacher is doing a lot of hands-on activity, but when the child goes home, the parents are not doing the same thing. There's no continuity. So I want to clarify: is it that means our advocacy is not just for teachers alone? It's also
No,
for
no, no, no.
parents.
Yeah. It's not limited to just the school. That's why I kept saying when you go back to the community, to parents, to opinion leaders, to everyone. So it's not just limited to the school. Because there are times that I'm sure if the school open up and they can also invite you to their parent-teacher meeting, you can have that session to create that awareness. And if there's a particular child that they've identified that this child is very good, so there are some of the schools that will be supportive. That the home is having that understanding. They like the understanding as this my child, instead of saying it's lazy, let's look at the other areas that they have to do. It means that we are now moving from the school to the home. And some schools can help arrange you to have meetings with parents, because if the awareness is just one-sided, it still means that one we've tied one end, but the other end hasn't been tied, and so it will just be flowing out. So the work is huge. There are a lot of work that we have to do. Yes.
Thank you, Ma.
Thank,
Thank you. I just wanted
thank
to
You're
you.
welcome.
clarify.
Yeah.
Right. So any other questions? If you have any question, you can feel free to raise your hand using the emoji, and I'm going to pick you. And feel free to also use the chat room if you want to type your questions or anything you want to add on, or any recommendation that you want. Right. We have some few minutes to take questions. Yeah. What you need clarifications, you can come through. We'll pick you. Okay. So I assume that there are no questions for now. And so, Madam Barbara Brew, we want to say thank you very much for your time, and
Thank you
God richly
too.
bless you. In fact, we
Man.
have learned a lot, and thank you for helping us get committed to whatever we are doing. Yes. And so, God
Very key
bless
and necessary.
God bless you. Your
Thank
last words,
you.
please,
Thank
for
you.
us, and we can send. Yeah.
ADO is there to support us all. So if you feel that you need to be equipped, because depending on the community you find yourself, some communities will be easy. it will be more welcoming. And feel free to get back to us. As a community, we are working towards a particular goal. So please feel free to reach out to us, and you can do it. You can do. We need more of such awareness to happen in our schools, in our homes, in churches. And so please never give up, and don't feel that you're alone. We are a community working together as a team. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Right. And so it is where we allow Madam Barbara Brew to sip a tea, or I mean a juice, right? So thank you, Madam Barbara. Thank you, Madam Barbara. Okay. So aspiring advocates, this is where we draw the curtains to today's session, and there are some updates as usual for you to take note of. And before we sign out, since Madam Barbara Brew has helped us pledge our allegiance, yes, today's passphrase is going to be, "So help me God." So help me God. Our passphrase is going to be, "So help me God." Yes. And so you would have your feedback form in the WhatsApp page, and also the recorded version of today's session in case you missed any point, so you can go and visit it again. All right. And also be encouraged that since next week we are not meeting. Next week, you're going to see update of your attendance. There are some people that today happens to be their first time of joining. The system has picked up attendance, and what we are planning to do is that since today's session is the 4th session out of the 8th session, we are going to keep you updated with your attendance so that you get to know where you fall short, so you wouldn't get to miss any of the other upcoming sessions. And so please and please and please again, let's do our possible best to turn up on time and also stay through till the end of every session. Be also informed that yesterday we had some few comments coming through on how if you want to receive letters, or you want to receive materials for your projects, the way you go about it. And so from a bit of discussion we had with the committee, what we are suggesting is that anyone who needs any material, or you need a letter from ADO to help you with your project, kindly email us by writing and stating
I think
what
David,
your project audience.
David, hello.
Hello,
Your
can you hear
line
me?
your line went off.
It went off. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry for that. Let me take that again. So I'm stating that I believe you had the passphrase. Today's passphrase is "So help me God." Today's passphrase is "So help me God." Since we have pledged our allegiance to becoming active and efficient advocates, our passphrase for today is "So help me God." And also, I stated clearly that if you need any material from ADO, there are a lot of materials that can help you with your project. We have PowerPoints, we have pictures, we have images, we have slides, we have logos, we have pull-up banners, we have t-shirt designs, we have everything that you need for your project work. All right. And so if you need any material from ADO, I would put my email address in the WhatsApp group that you can WhatsApp your letter to us. We will go through the letter and then re-edit it and then put our letterhead on it and forward it back to you so that you can send it to the institutions or the companies or wherever you are going to have your project being done. However, we require that you state clearly the kind of project you are embarking on, exactly where you are taking it to, and then also your target audience, all right, and every necessary details that you need to put up there. That is what we require you do in the letter. You forward it to me, and then I will copy the necessary office, and they are going to write back to you. Okay. And also, previously we made arrangements that you are supposed to submit. You are supposed to have 2 projects being done. You submit one before the end of March, and then one in April. But then we want you to submit all in April. Hopefully, your graduation will be in the second week of April. Hopefully, your graduation is going to be in the second week of April. But you are going to have a sort of a viva or a pre-presentation of your project. So by that time, we assume that you have done a first phase of your project. Whilst working on the second phase, there's going to be a session whereby we will all meet, and then you are going to present online your project, the status of your project, where you have gotten to, what you are doing, and where you need to catch up and finish up. This will also go as part of your assessment before your final project is being submitted. All right. Also, as part of your training, you are all entitled to have a training with Nessie. There is a dyslexia training 1 and 2, of which you are supposed to take with Nessie. It is compulsory. This is a self-taught program. So after today, you are going to have the logins and every information you need with Nessie. You are supposed to do this training as part of your training with ADO. If you are not able to do that, you are not going to graduate. This is a self-taught training coming from Nessie as part of ADO. So you are going to have this training done, and at any point in time, feel free to do this training because it's self-taught. You can take your time and do it anytime you want to complete this training, but it should be completed before the graduation month or the graduation date. All right, so you do it, and then you are going to share your certificates. Nessie will give you certificates of the training. You are going to take training 1 and 2 with Nessie on dyslexia, understanding dyslexia. And so after that, you are going to take your certificates, and then you share it on the platform, evidence of the certificate on the platform. We are going to also take your details from Nessie, indicating that you have also joined the Nessie training as well. And last but not least, I recommend that we all follow ADO on our social media platforms. Your first point or your first call as an advocate is to be active and abreast with every information ADO holds. And so I believe that you should be sleeping on our social media platforms, be it LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere, on our website. Because if you are not there, ask me, where are you going to get the information you need to be an active member of ADO? And so please update yourself with every necessary information on our social media platform. Keep sharing them, download them, let them be on your status, because now you are about wearing the colors, the green and white colors of ADO. And so please, again, let's see you in those active modes. And so when you go to the platform, you are going to see our upcoming ADO Online Academy. Now, ADO Online Academy is an academy where we teach. It's an online session, or let's say online university. Let me put it that way. It's an online university where we teach everything about inclusive education, everything you need to know about learning differences and even classroom management and a whole lot of things. And so be part of the online academy. Coming 25th of February, we are going to have a session that is, I'm talking about the online academy. You're going to have building teachers' confidence. and impact. Building teachers' confidence and impact. That is what we are going to do. And then the topic will be teaching powerfully when with less, building teacher confidence and impact in challenging classrooms. So even with less, okay. So please again, do your possible best to sign on this training and be part of it. These are free things or free gifts you are going to get from being part of ADO, and share it to other teachers as well. Share it on your school platforms, company platforms, and every platform that you are on. And please again, do your possible best to be active on ADO platforms, because that is where you are going to have your information on ADO. So africadyslexia.org. That is our website. Go on it, browse it. When you're on LinkedIn, just type Africa Dyslexia Organization. If you're on Facebook, the same. If you're on Instagram, the same. Wherever platform you find yourself, do your possible best to look out for ADO, Africa Dyslexia Organization. Follow, subscribe, so that you are going to get every bit of notification that comes from the organization, because it is very important that you get yourself abreast with information from ADO, so you stay up to date. Some of the times, some information will not be placed on your platform, just to check those who are being active. And so please again, do well to be active on our social media platforms, and it's going to go a long way to help you. Now, for the next certificate, you should be done. Yes, you should be done by you should be done by March. Yes, by March ending, you should be done, just so that we can prepare everything and wrap up your graduation for you. So by March, you should be done with your NESI, put a certificate there, same as the projects as well. Okay, so if you need any clarification for now, you can put up your hand, and if you need any question, I mean, if for now you don't have any question and at the back end you have any question, feel free to also DM me, and we'll talk more about it, just so you get the clarification that you need. But for now, these are the updates I want you to understand. Please again, do not miss the sessions. It is very, very important, because the system is picking your attendance. Yes, there are some of you that today happens to be the first time you are joining a full session, the models. Yes, and we are already through model 4. And so please again, do your possible best to come online with the last 4 models. All right. Any question at this point in time where you need clarification? We have about 10 minutes more to go. All right, Tufumi, your hand is up. You can unmute yourself and then ask the question. Yeah, Tufumi. Tufumi, you can unmute yourself.
I wasn't able to.
All right.
Good evening, everybody, once again, and thank
Good
you very
evening.
much for the section. I've been on transit, that's why I've not been able to almost. So my question now is concerning requests for resources and then letters. So just for clarification, you said that we're going to write in details the community or school or wherever we want to go visit. So my question is it for each visitation, like now I'm going to a school this time, and okay, and I send every detail concerning the school, and then the next time I'm going to somewhere else, like I have to also write a letter to implement that. So every project that I want to go out for, that I'm planning for, I have to write a letter ahead of that. So I want to get that cleared out.
Okay, so sincerely, there are some organizations that maybe probably, if you say you're going to do it at your church, because they know you, they wouldn't ask you, or they wouldn't maybe request for any introduction or any formal introduction because they know you. But when you are going somewhere you are not known, there's a need for you to go with an introductory letter introducing who you are, what you are, and what you are about doing there. And even some will go to the extent of asking you the kind of information you are coming to share. Share it with them before they give you the opportunity. That is why we're saying that wherever you want to do it, if you are in a place where you think they would need an introductory letter or they will need anything that proves or authenticates you as a member of ADO, that you are trustworthy, you give us these details and we are going to, at any point in time, serve you with whatever resources that you need. You understand? If there are places as well that you think they wouldn't require these things, fine. You can still go ahead and take your project. All right. Just so that as part of our advocacy journey, it is very important that we also consider ethics concerning advocacy. You understand? And some of the ethics is seeking consent before you embark on any advocacy journey. All right. And so, as not to bring any conflict of interest or cause any kind of conflict between you as an advocate and then the audience out there. That is why we're saying that there's a need for you to go with a consent form. And all these things are going to be given to you if you clearly state what you need from the organization. All right, great. Tufmi, I believe you are answered.
Yes, thank you.
All right, highly welcome. All right. And so if you need any
Anyway,
clarification as well,
DM.
if you need any clarification as well, just put up your hand and I will meet you. You have 4 minutes more to sign out. And I'm going to share with you on the platform, okay, all the addresses to our website, to our LinkedIn, to our YouTube, to our Facebook, to our internet, Twitter, every platform. All right. So please do well to visit this platform because we were giving away some of the freebies as well on the platform that you wouldn't maybe be aware of. Okay. And so please and please and please and please again. If you listened to Fatih very well yesterday, you'd realize that she was active on all these platforms, took all the advantages available there. And this is now where she is now, flying all over. And so please, and please, sometimes we will not be spoon feeding you on the platform. It is just because you are new. You are our babies, yes. So you are our last born, yeah, ADO last borns, ADO babies. So we are giving you everything. We are spoon feeding you. Seth is posting the link again and again and again and again. And I'm laughing because yes, you are our last borns. We need to spoon feed you. We need to give you what you need. Yeah, but a time is going to come that you would have to fetch information for yourself as well because there would be another last born that is going to be 2027 advocates. So Obatala is laughing. Yes. So for now, you are last born. So we give you what you need. Yes. So take advantage of that to also equip yourself with all the things that you need. Okay, great. Right. So I'm going to share the links to all our social media platforms on the WhatsApp group. And also I'm going to also consider having a training with you on how to sign on to the NESI so you can begin at your own time, anytime you want. So please look at the WhatsApp platform for every update that you need as well. Tufumi, your hand is up again. I don't know if it was a mistake or you still wanted to ask the question. Tufumi.
No, it wasn't. I'm
Right.
not.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, sure. Thank you very much for me. All right. So I believe we are all clear now. And our director, our CEO, is also in the background hearing us all the time. She's always with us. This is our mother. Yes. Our mother will never leave her last ones. So she's always with us. I don't know if lady, you want to say something or give me a thumbs up if you are cool so we can sign out. If you are cool, lady. Yeah.
Oh, I'm cool. Great
Yeah.
job.
Cool.
Everybody clap for yourself. I think we are going strong and strong and
Yay.
strong and strong. But David, are you sure next week is not their networking sessions among themselves?
Exactly.
Have you checked the calendar?
Exactly. So that is where we are going to have the how do you call about the NESI trainings, the NESI session for them to know how to log in and that stuff, and then continue with the network session. Yeah, so that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the network session, I think you should explain it a bit to them. The goal about it is that, we are all coming from different places. Even if you are all in Ghana or you are all in Nigeria, you don't know yourselves, right? And this is a platform where we network among ourselves. You get to know your colleagues. There are people you may want to even collaborate on projects with and all that. So that's the goal about it. It's not going to be like a long 2 hours. It's going to be short, but it's at least when you can, it's like speed networking, where we break out into groups, and then maybe one-on-one you are talking to somebody, and then maybe after 10 minutes or 15 minutes you change and you go and meet another person. So maybe per networking session you get to meet 2 people or 3 people at a time, and then you are getting to know yourselves. I hope you like the idea. So I wish you all the best. I'm so proud of all of you and your activeness. And I always say that one day, I strongly believe it is an advocate who is going to be the CEO of Africa Dyslexia Organization. So God should help all of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mom. God bless you for your time. Great. And so exactly 6:00 p.m. and we are done for today. If you have any question, any clarifications, please do well to DM me after this session, and I'll be highly available to serve you better. Thank you very much, Seth, for helping us with every technical issue and also serving us better with technical expertise. Thank you, Madam Barbara Brew, for being a wonderful host. In fact, we are blessed, and we are now equipped to go out there as we have pledged our allegiance. We're going to do so, and God richly bless you. Thank you very much, all aspiring advocates, and it has been a wonderful evening serving you better. Keep glued to ADO, and God richly bless you all. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful evening wherever you are. You can now meet yourself, and just as we do all the time, just say bye-bye to everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Have a good weekend. Oh, Seth, can you unmute everyone so they can talk?
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. God bless
bye-bye.
you, ma.
Sorry, what's the
Bye.
passphrase
Thank you
again?
for muting
What's
us.
the
I had a
passphrase
lot of
again?
things to say. You were
Bye.
muted
Thank
throughout.
you for the
Bye.
wonderful session. Thank you.
Yes,
Bye.
so bye.
What's
Thank you.
Bye.
what's the
Goodbye.
Bye.
passphrase?
Thank you. See you guys next.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye. Love
everyone.
you.
Bye, everyone.
Someone is asking for the passphrase. Well, the
So
passphrase
help me
What's the
God.
is
passphrase?
Oh, so
Passphrase,
So
guys.
help
help me
us
God.
So
God.
help me
So
God.
help
So
me God.
help me
So help me
God.
God.
So help me God.
great. Thank you very much for
All right.
assisting in that.